Games Workshop, or GW, was once a beloved cornerstone of the tabletop gaming world. Founded in 1975, GW helped define the modern miniature wargaming hobby. With franchises like Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Fantasy, and Middle-earth, the company created immersive worlds and stunning miniatures that captured the imaginations of millions. For years, they were seen as the pioneers, fueling creativity and community through their innovative designs and passionate storytelling. GW wasn't just a company, it was a culture. Hobbyists would spend hours painting their miniatures, strategizing for battles, and connecting with others over their shared love for the game. But over time, cracks began to show. While their products remained high quality, their business practices began to alienate the very community that made it successful. Today, GW isn't seen as a champion of the hobby it once was. Said it is frequently criticized for predatory pricing, forced obsolescence, and an exploitative attitude towards its customers. Let's take a deeper look into why GW's reputation has shifted and how their actions have eroded trust among fans, such as myself. Let's start with the cost. GW's pricing has spiraled out of control, turning what was once an affordable hobby into a luxury pastime. A box of infantry that used to cost $20 to $30 now runs $60 or more, while centerpiece models can cost over $200 in some cases. These price hikes go far beyond inflation or production cost, with GW consistently boasting some of the highest profit margins in the industry. To put this into perspective, GW's profit margins for 2023 and 2024 hovered around 68%. Meanwhile, Blue Hat Interactive Entertainment Technologies, which is its competitor in the same market, only had a gross margin percentage of around 1.6%. This pricing strategy hurts newcomers the most. For someone who interested in trying out the hobby, the high cost of entry is a huge deterrent. Simply ask your friends who haven't gotten into the hobby, and it proves this point. Starter sets, paints, and brushes are expensive, making it harder for new players to join. This isn't something necessarily GW is at fault for, but something the industry has to address. GW's obsession with maximizing the profit has made their games increasingly inaccessible to the average person. Moving on to the second point, forced obsolescence. Another way of GW squeezing their customers is by retiring older models and replacing them with updated versions, then banning the old versions in official play. This forces players to repurchase miniatures they already own, or risk being excluded from tournaments and events. Take the Middle-earth strategy battle game as an example. With the upcoming Amazon Rohirrim TV show, GW has begun phasing out older Rohan models in favor of new scopes inspired by the series. This is great. However, while updated designs can be exciting, GW is reportedly making older Rohan models like the riders and characters like Eomer and Theoden ineligible for official play. This leaves fans who have already invested in these miniatures with little choice but to buy the newer versions. They want to stay tournament legal. Imagine spending hours painting and building a beautiful army, only to be told it's no longer usable. It's not just a financial loss, it's a blow to creativity and effort of players being poured into the hobby. Instead of letting old and new models coexist, GW is effectively punishing their most loyal fans in order to boost sales. Overpriced rules and constant updates is my third point. Next, let's talk about the rules and the codices. GW frequently releases new editions of their games, often overhauling rules entirely. While this could keep the game fresh, it often feels like a ploy to sell more books. Every new edition renders old rulebooks obsolete, forcing players to buy $50, $60 codices just to keep playing their armies. And with rules and updates happening every few years, players often find themselves stuck in a cycle of constant spending. These frequent updates don't always bring meaningful improvements, they just create artificial demand for new products. My fourth point is stifling creativity in fan communities. GW has also alienated fans with its aggressive intellectual property policies. Another company who has done this is Hasbro with D&D. In 2021, they shut down beloved fan film animations like Astartes under a draconian IP enforcement campaign. These projects celebrated GW's world and brought new players into the hobby, but instead of embracing this creativity, GW simply shut it down to maintain control of the hobby. Additionally, GW heavily restricts third-party retailers and creators. They enforce strict pricing policies that prevent retailers from offering discounts, keeping their prices artificially high. Meanwhile, independent sculptors and 3D printing enthusiasts face legal threats for creating models even vaguely inspired by GW designs. Since when did we copyright artwork? Rather than nurturing a thriving ecosystem of fan content, GW stifles it, alienating the very community they claim to serve. My fifth point is a disconnect with the community. Finally, let's talk about GW's attitude towards its fans. For a long time, GW seemed like a company made by hobbyists for hobbyists, but in recent years, they've shown a disturbing disregard for their community. One infamous moment came in 2021 when their CEO referred to their fans as a captive audience. This mindset perfectly encapsulates the growing rift between GW and its players. Instead of valuing the people who built their success, GW treats its fan base like an endless source of revenue. Their customer support is also notoriously poor, with slow response times and limited transparency about issues. Fans often feel ignored, creating a sense of alienation and resentment. The bottom line is that at its core, Games Workshop still makes stunning models and captivating worlds, but their business practices are damaging their legacy. From predatory pricing and forced obsolescence to stifling creativity and dismissing the community, GW consistently prioritizes profits over the people. And the sad part is, it doesn't have to be this way. GW could simply easily foster loyalty and long-term success by valuing the players, embracing fan creativity, and making the hobby more accessible. Instead, they have chosen to exploit the very people who have made them successful. As hobbyists, it's important to hold companies accountable, support independent creators, buy secondhand when you can, and encourage others to speak out. Because while GW's worlds may be grim dark, the gaming community and hobby community as a whole doesn't have to be this way. If y'all liked the content you heard today, please hit the subscribe button and like. Hope y'all have a great day. Remember, y'all, junk it out.